My name is Marques. I've been using a brain-based approach for about 12 years now to help people move better, get out of pain. And I really got into this after a 20-year career in the Army. And I met Dr. Grove Higgins at a nonprofit that he had working with wounded, ill, and injured soldiers. That's why I was introduced to a brain-based way of training. And I really just fell in love with that and helping people get better, move better, get out of pain using this approach. And this is the kind of training I wish I had when I was an operational Green Beret or when I was a competitive athlete in college. I've been through the Z Health Performance's full curriculum and their Master Trainer program, which just means that I've gotten about 600 hours of neurological training for performance, pain, movement, etc. So the one thing that's really jumped out over the last 12 years is that probably regardless of fitness level or athleticism, so someone not fit at all to gold medal athletes, 90 to 95% of people have poor breathing mechanics and poor habits. And that's just modern lifestyle has kind of driven us into this. People don't realize it. They only associate breathing with like cardiovascular activity and don't realize how poor breathing habits, poor breathing mechanics can affect them in a lot of different ways. Of course. So breathing's a foundational skill, and we all know that we need to breathe to stay alive. It doesn't mean we all do it really well though. And good breathing habits, good breathing mechanics is getting more oxygen to your brain and more oxygen to the tissue you need for movement and exercise. And it is driving your system to operate at a higher level. So for one of the reasons I created the breathing course was so that we could teach in an easy way how you can start to improve that and improve not only say your cardiovascular activity, but also your cognitive function, your focus, reduce anxiety and sleep. Really anyone can improve using this course. So if you're already a high-level competitive athlete, chances are you have not focused on breathing. So if you do that with the exercises and programs in the course, your performance is going to improve. But even if you work in an office every day and your real concern is how much focus you have, reducing brain fog, reducing anxiety, then the breathing drills and courses and programs in this level of course are going to help you. That was terrible. I'll start over with that one.
Okay,
right.
Go for it.
So really the course is for anyone. You can get improvement in your breathing for whatever, God dang. So this course really can help anyone. If you're a high-level athlete, the breathing exercises and the programs of this course are going to improve your breathing mechanics and your breathing habits to be able to perform at a higher level. But even if you just work in an office every day, then what you're going to do is realize that proper breathing is improving your focus and concentration, you're better oxygenating your brain, and if you have pain or movement issues, better breathing can also help with that. So we go over several different things, and the thing that I've learned over the years as I've trained people how to breathe better is there are three main areas you have to understand. You have to understand breathing mechanics, so like literally the mechanical aspect of breathing, the muscles that are involved, and the joints that have to have good mobility in order to breathe well, the physical aspect of it. Then there's the breathing physiology, which really starts to get into kind of oxygen, carbon dioxide balance and how you can improve that and optimize that. So breathing mechanics, breathing physiology, and thirdly is breathing habits. So these are things like, are you a mouth breather or are you a nasal breather, right? How do you know the proper way to be breathing during exercise and during different types of exercise? So these are the three areas that we teach: breathing mechanics, breathing physiology, breathing habits. So what I've noticed is taking other breathing courses and just trying to expand my own knowledge. One of the things I found that was a little bit lacking was really just the basics, both information about breathing, but then the aspects of the mechanics and the physiology. And so a beginner can take the course and start to improve their breathing right away. But even if someone's, an advanced trainee, meaning they've taken some breathing things before, they're probably going to learn quite a few things in this course, because we put a lot of things in here that I've not seen in other courses. So from an overall standpoint, I think we all know that, you can go a while without eating, and you might be able, even a week or two actually. You could probably go, a day or two without drinking anything. But you're not going very long without breathing. So we all know it's important because we're providing oxygen to the tissues that need it, and that provides us energy to live, right? But from a wellness standpoint then, it's really important that we have a balance of both oxygen and carbon dioxide. And it's really not that complicated, but that affects our pH levels in our body. And so it directly impacts our overall health, because if we are not oxygenating correctly, if we're over-oxygenating, that can put our system into a deficit, and that will affect both the pH level in the body, but then also affect your breathing habits, which then over time, because we breathe 14 to 22,000 times a day, take a breath, that amount of reps, if those mechanics are bad and those habits are bad, affect just about everything in your quality of life. One of the big ones is that you just need to breathe more. Actually, over-breathing or hyperventilation is one of the biggest problems that we see with folks. They're over-oxygenated, which doesn't seem like a bad thing, especially if you live at altitude. But what it does is it offsets the right ratio that we're supposed to have between oxygen and carbon dioxide. And that actually, even though it seems counterintuitive, it actually reduces oxygen flow to the brain when we are overbreathers. So breathing too much, right, or too many times per minute, too many breaths per minute, is a big one. And we had a mixed martial arts fighter from Sweden who was doing some strength and conditioning training online for, and we started bringing in some breathing training. He was really impressed with, the things he didn't understand about breathing initially, but how much it started to help his ability to perform, both when he was doing strength and conditioning training, but then also in the cage. Another case would be another fellow retired Green Beret who we started working on a lot of breathing training, which helped a lot with his pain, but has tremendously helped with his cardiovascular capability now too. And then my favorite one was a client who was going to go to Everest to help do support work at the base camp. So not going all the way top, but the base camp is sitting, around 17,000 feet, I think. She had done this many times in the past, but really wanted to work on some breathing training prior to her last trip. So we went through what's basically in this course, Performance Level Breathing 1, and then advanced to what will be in the further courses as well with her. And she actually had the best experience she'd ever had up at the base camp at Everest, and her breathing was the best it had ever been. No prerequisites necessary, no prior knowledge. We'll explain everything. Now, obviously we take a brain-based approach to everything, so there's neurology dripped in throughout the course, but you don't have to have a huge understanding of neurology to understand and be able to do any of the exercises or follow any of the programs in the course. So we go through an introductory module first, some basics on how the course is going to be set up, and some breathing basics, if you will. So people can understand some of the important aspects of breathing that most people don't understand. Then the second module, we go through an assessment, both breathing assessment to get some actual hard objective numbers on some respiration mechanics, but then also into some neurological assessment. So these are things that you're going to use then throughout the course to be able to tell for every single exercise that we do whether it's good for you or where it might be a little threatening for your nervous system. Then in Module 3, we go through breathing mechanics. So we'll teach breathing muscle drills and breathing mobility drills for the joints that are involved in breathing. Module 4, we're going into breathing physiology. So these are a lot of timed breathing exercises and exercises that are helping to rebalance that oxygen-carbon dioxide ratio. Module 5, we talk through all of the breathing habits that we want to learn and to utilize in just our normal day, but also exercise. And then Module 6, we have all of our programs. So we built 3 different programs based upon basically how much time you have to dedicate to your breathing trainings. We have Program 1, which is you're doing all the exercises, 12 to 15 minutes a day. Program 2, we kind of split the exercises into a workout A, workout B, odd and even days, maybe 6 to 7 minutes. And then Program 3, you're just using your best high payoff drills, and that's just taking 2 or 3 minutes per day. And then Module 7 has some training resources, both reading you can do and other coursework. What we try to do is look at those things that people are not doing. There's a lot of cool breathing methods out there. We're all familiar with some of them, and some of them involve extreme cold temperatures and things like that. And they're all pretty neat, and they really all have one common aspect: conscious control of your breathing. But what we didn't see is that the very basics of breathing mechanics and the very basics of breathing physiology and certainly habits are not really all brought together in one place. And so that's what we tried to do with this course: get the very basics of good respiration in, so that it makes everything else you do with either advanced breathing courses or with other breathing tools, of which there are a lot of cool ones out there. It makes all that better because you have the basis.
It's available.
So the platform has lifetime access once you're in the course, and all the modules are laid out. They're all pretty short videos, the sub-lessons in the modules. It's really easy to follow, and you can go back to any modules you want and view them over and over again. And we also provide some downloadable printouts for each module, so that you don't have to go back to your computer to just get a refresher or a reminder of what a certain exercise was or what certain breathing habits were. So we try to provide a lot of information that you can take with you and that you can use whenever you want, and not have to go back into the course. But the course is laid out all in video modules with demonstrations, and then all the exercises have regressions and variations if you want to advance the exercise.
Gotcha.
No matter what your fitness level is, like we said before, most people don't have really great breathing habits and breathing mechanics. So by improving that, everything's going to get better. And one of the things we often find is that when we're working with people, even when you're having difficulty getting people either out of pain or moving better and nothing seems to work, a lot of times it comes down to their poor breathing is the reason for that. So by fixing that, you're setting yourself up with a foundation for everything.